So today, something a little bit different. We're actually going to talk about YouTube. So, Mrs. Higgy, what were we going to start with?
We were going to ask, what other YouTube channels do you watch?
Okay, so this might be a bit of a surprise, guys. So you might be expecting loads of guitar-related stuff. Actually, not really, no. So, off the top of the head, I guess probably I'd say a channel called Harry's Garage, or Garage, if you prefer. I don't know how other people... How would we pronounce it?
Garage.
Yeah, garage, isn't it, from where we're from? But depending where you're from in the UK, you might say garage or garage, or from the States. How do they say? I think they say garage in the States. Is that right?
I don't know.
How do you say it in the States, guys? Garage. 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 Harry's garage. I don't know how you'd say that in the States. Anyway, I say garage because I'm from the South. I don't say garage, which is a southeastern kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, Harry's Garage is a car channel. And basically it's a dude called Harry, believe it or not. And he's, I don't know what, he's 50s, 60s or something like that. But he's like, he's a former journalist, car journalist, but he's a farmer as well by profession. But it's just really cool. I really love watching that because it's like an ordinary guy, or ordinary as you can be if you're like a multi-millionaire and you've been a car journalist or whatever. But it's just an ordinary dude, just living with cars, like supercars, you know, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, stuff like that. It's just really interesting, and the reason I like watching that channel is just because it's different. You're not watching a guy who's doing it just for views, because he doesn't have to do it, you know. So it's not like these Instagrammers and these assholes, all these stupid influencers who are not doing it out of love, they're doing it for the attention. This guy isn't doing it for attention. That's why I think I love watching it, because it's just an ordinary dude. You might follow him on a trip to the south of France, and he just talks about stuff that you'd never normally think about. You know, he'll show you the interior, he'll talk about all the little details that you wouldn't get to see, and what it's like to own this stuff. So it's really interesting from a voyeur's perspective, and because I like cars anyway, obviously I'm interested for that reason, but I just like watching the guy. I mean, he's just real, isn't he? You know?
And he talks about the spec. So if you were going to buy one from new, he talks all about all the different spec you can get and whether it's worth it or not. And, even though we wouldn't, you know, dream of owning that car, it's kind of interesting to know, like, shit, you could have a carbon fibre, whatever. Yeah,
it is. And they'll say, oh, like, if you want this option, it's like $2,000 or whatever, you know, for a paint option or some stupid shit like that, or a cup holder or something like that. But yeah, no, it's just really interesting. So yeah, that's one of the channels I will watch pretty much. Anytime he'll chuck a video up, I'm pretty much interested in it. You know, not all the time, but you know, most of the time I'll watch it, even if it's not necessarily a car that I would be interested in myself in owning. Well, I think people watch these things regardless of. It's not like you watch it thinking I want that car, or I'm ever gonna own that car, or anything like that. You just watch it out of interest because it's fascinating. You know,
like his latest car, and he's having the engine taken out of it, and all of that kind of whole drama behind.
Exactly.
Doing that is been really interesting to watch, hasn't it?
That's right, because any of you guys know your 80s cars. You know, he's got a Lamborghini Countach, and his gearbox was screwed, so he's having it taken out. So that's really interesting. You have to lift the engine out, and you have to lift it out vertically. So that was really cool to be able to...
Spoiler there.
Yeah, spoiler alert, sorry. But yeah, it's really cool. So for that reason, and it's just great. He just gets out and does things, and he appreciates what he has. He's just an ordinary guy, and I think that's why everybody loves watching his channel. No one begrudges him his success because he's just a normal dude, you know, and he's not doing it for attention or likes and all that crap. You know, he just loves sharing his passion. I think his passion shines through, and I think that's probably the thing that the thread that probably joins all the other YouTube channels that I'm interested in watching. You know, the thing that they sort of have in common. I think is, you know, it's just a genuine passion for what they do. It's not an attention thing as such, is it?
No, not at all. And it's like the next one you're going to mention that's car related, and it's not necessarily, again, cars that you would specifically buy.
Is it with the Beamer one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other channel I like watching as well is I'm pretty sure it's called M539, or is it M359? I'm pretty sure it's M539 Restorations, and I just don't know why it's chosen such a weird name. But we just chanced upon that one day, because like, you know, as you go to YouTube and you'll see a thumbnail of something, it's like, well, that looks pretty interesting. and I can't remember what it was. It was like a really old BMW from the early 80s, I think, and it hadn't been started in over 20-something years.
Oh, that's right.
The one with all that gunk in the engine.
Yeah, that's
so it had all this coolant and stuff coming out of the water jacket and stuff. It was horrible. It looked awful. And it showed him cleaning up the... Was that the one where he also cleaned the fuel tank, or was it the oil sump pan? It was the fuel tank, wasn't it? He's trying to clean...
Yeah, because it was like caramel.
Yeah, it was caramel. It was horrible, wasn't it? And it showed... He tried all these different methods of trying to clean it. Leaving it for days, it didn't work, and then... But it's got the satisfaction. I'm not one of those people. A good friend of mine, my good friend Graham Wall, who's excellent record producer, and he's always talking to me about what he calls competency porn. In other words, watching videos of people doing stuff who are really good at what they do. So whether it's chefs or creators of some description. And I don't really watch a lot of that sort of stuff, but this is one of those, what Graham would call competency porn channels, where you watch somebody who's really excellent at what they do, and you just watch them go through the process, and it's really satisfying seeing it going from like really crappy and gunky and covered in shit in all sorts of oil.
And never been started for like 10
Not been
plus...
started for years.
Yeah.
And he gets it started, but he'll do like the before and after. You'll see him like cleaning some metal parts, and it'll go from like covered in like POL, petrols, oils, lubricants. If pardon the army phrase, I'll just keep saying POL now. It's just really funny. Covered in oil, petrol, what have you, to becoming like sparkly clean aluminium manifold or head or something like that. It's really interesting.
So, and he takes a real pride in what he does. And I mean, he started from absolutely nothing, from literally...
He's not a mechanic.
No.
Yeah, he just taught himself.
Yeah, from cars on the side of the road when he was in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was working in America.
I think he was in IT, or is in IT or something.
Where's he from?
Serbia, I think.
Yeah.
He lives in Germany, but he's Serbian. Anyway, guys, yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not even a BMW enthusiast specifically, even though I do like them and I appreciate them. Everyone who knows me sees the Porsche stickers on the guitar, so obviously pretty, no prizes for guessing what's my favourite mark of the car. But yeah, I'll appreciate Beamers for sure, and it's just really interesting to watch it because the guy's great at what he does, and it's really interesting to see him take something that's knackered and been sort of given up on and bringing it to new life. It's just cool. And it's just a really nice way of relaxing, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. And we some of his videos are like an hour plus long. And
yeah, so we might have to do it in installments. Like somebody falling asleep watching it and thinking, oh shit.
Yeah, or is it always the good stuff you fall asleep to?
Yeah, exactly. Like the stuff you're interested in, the stuff you want to watch is the stuff that relaxes you the most. You end up sort of falling asleep at the end of the day. It's like, oh.
So more obscure channels that people might not think that you would be into.
Okay, so this is a bit of a random one, guys. So there's a guy that we chanced upon. I can't remember if it was our friend who shared that with us, but there's a dude called Shiey. And
it was a friend of yours.
Yes, Shiey. Okay, and it's a dude from, I can't remember which country it is. It's a Baltic country. I think it was either Lithuania or Latvia. I can't remember. Even though the guy's English is incredible. At first I thought he's American, and then I realised, no, there's a bit of a European tinge in there. Anyway, he's what you would call like an urban explorer adventure. And this is not stuff that I'm into at all, really. But he's a dude who will go and he'll surf trains all across Europe and explore abandoned buildings and climb to the top of what have you. And again, it's not stuff that I would do myself at all. Maybe that's why we're fascinated in it. I don't know. It's just...
I think also what is great about him is he's not intrusive, as in he doesn't per se break the law in breaking into buildings and stuff like that. He's more the kind of guy who wants the experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a solitary guy. He's like, even though he sometimes go out with some other people, he's more about doing it for himself and the solitary adventure of it. He's not like an attention whore or a Instagrammer, and like he doesn't do anything on social media. He doesn't reply, doesn't do anything, but he's got like over 1 million followers now, because I think it's because everyone just loves seeing what he does. It's just stuff that you would never do in real life. Like one of his last trips, we ended up ditching transport and ended up just buying a bike there and cycling. It was Bosnia, wasn't it? I think so. Cycling through the mountains and hills of Bosnia. Didn't even know if he was going to get to the other side, and he did. And it's just stuff like that, which personally I would never do.
In the snow.
In the snow, yeah. But the train surfing, it's all that stuff is the adventure side of stuff. Like he doesn't know when he's going to get on a train or where he's going to get off. And when I say get on a train, I literally mean jump on a train, hide in the cargo. What do you call those?
Yeah.
I don't know what you call them. Like you've got the engine and you've got the. In my mind, I can't even think of the words now. But you know, like where they carry like metal and ore and what sort of whatever the crap cargo they carry. But why has my mind gone blank for like the most simple thing? I can't even think what those things are called now.
Trailers?
No, well, yeah, it's not carriages, but it's like, oh, why can't I think of the name? But basically, whatever the freight is that they're hauling, these open-topped things. The dog's come over to see me now. Yeah, girl. She's gone again. Anyway, he'll just hop into those, and they'll just ride it wherever it's going across Europe, right, for hours, you know, and they'll just get out, and then he'll have to find somewhere like a copse of trees or something like that to put his hammock up and go to sleep, and it's stuff like that's really interesting. Like I said, I think it just appeals to the adventurer and all of us because we'd never do that, but it's really cool.
And also, you like traveling, so it's like seeing these other countries, and it's really real.
Yeah,
it's not. You know, oh, here's the idea of this country. It's really real. So you really get to see the scenery.
Yeah.
He's very good at doing the sunset and the sunrise and but also on top of all of that, I think what we like about him is he is a moral person again.
He is a moral guy. Yeah, he's very interesting. I mean, he's only young. He's only in his 20s. You know, I look at him and think, bloody hell, he's so young. He's a kid, but he's an adult, really. But you know what it is. You like anyone younger than you, it's like, wow, they're so young. But he is already quite morally quite well aligned, I think. You know, he's a decent dude. You know, I couldn't watch it if he was an idiot. You know, I'm just not interested in channels where people are just idiots and attention seekers and just won't do it. I'm not interested in that sort of stuff.
No.
You know, if someone keeps us watching, it's either because they're a decent person and they have to be a decent person and their content's got to be good, you know.
So going a little bit more out there. Bright Insight.
Bright Insight, yeah. So, so Bright Insight is a guy called Jimmy. And we first became aware of his stuff. God, I don't know what video I watched of his first. I don't even know how I got into it, but because I'm kind of into history and ancient history, like civilization stuff, like Greece and stuff like that. It was probably a video about like ancient megalithic buildings. It might have been like Baalbek in Lebanon or something like that. I watched it. I think it might have been the one about a building in Baalbek called the Temple of Jupiter, and these really massive stones. And I think his thumbnail was something like, the Romans did not build this, or something like that. And it just went down a huge rabbit hole of watching a lot of his stuff and thinking, that's interesting, you know. A lot of this megalithic stuff where the stones are so insanely huge. I mean, we're talking up almost approaching 1,000 tons and things like that. And it was just a really cool gateway into a world of which combines like my love of history with kind of the unknown and the more woo-woo out there sort of shit, you know, which is really quite cool. And Jimmy's a decent guy. He's very interesting as a person. He doesn't, you know, he gives little bits of his past. Like he talks about, you know, he's worked as a fraud investigator. He is an ex-vet. He toured Iraq. And yeah, he himself is an interesting character, and he's like came into the public eye a little bit more in the last year, I think it was, when he was talking about his theories that, you know, the Rikat structure in northern Africa and Mauritania could be Atlantis, right? So regardless of what you feel about the whole Atlantis thing, whether it really is just a myth from Plato or whether there's some truth behind it, that got him a lot of notoriety, but. It was a lot of his other stuff that I was interested in as well, wasn't it? You know, so we watched a lot of his stuff. He's talking about like the moon, Tesla, like I said, all these really cool megalithic structures. I mean,
yeah, I mean, he really sort of what got him out there was more the Egyptian type stuff, the pyramids and all of that kind of stuff. But I think again, he was one of those guys that you could tell was passionate about what he was, you know, doing his videos with. Yeah,
totally. It's again, it's one of those things, the subject matter aligns, and he's an interesting person anyway, clearly passionate about what he does. You know, he gets a lot of flack, obviously, from people thinking he's a he's not a pseudoscientist because he doesn't claim to be a pseudoscientist. He's not even claiming to be a pseudo-archaeologist, but he does rightly call out a lot of the antiquated, outdated ideas that are prevalent in history and you know, particularly fields like Egyptology, which has to be pointed out is not actually a science, guys. Egyptology is not, whilst it is a discipline, an academic discipline, it's not actually a science. It is based on theories of it. You know, it's nobody knows how the Great Pyramid was built. There is no proof that it was a tomb. Absolutely none, apart from, you know, people just trying to deduce things and put it together. You know, there is no evidence whatsoever. And once you look into it, it's really, really interesting. And it doesn't mean you have to go down the rabbit hole of, right, it's aliens, you know, but it really is worth looking into. It really is. It's so interesting. Even if you're not into history, it's, you know, just the...
And like Jimmy says, he says always at the end of his videos, think for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and he's very much, he's happy to be wrong as much as he's happy to be right. You know, and that's, I think that's another thing we appreciate about him.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, he got me thinking differently. You know, like I said, this isn't me coming out and saying I'm a woo-woo conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But yeah, he's definitely got me thinking differently. And I already had an interest in history anyway, but it's definitely got me looking at things in a new way. I mean, like when I went to Greece a few years back, because everyone talks about Egypt. Egypt this, Egypt that. And whilst that's fair enough, I still think enough people don't still apply this stuff to Greece as well, because whilst everyone thinks Greece, Parthenon, stuff like that, there's still a lot of evidence that there is stuff that was being built that is still incredible, and the technology required, we still can't really say how it was done. And whilst we know that a lot of this stuff was built in a time that we knew it was built by, leading up to, the year 0, and then even after, when the Romans were occupying Greece, we do know that a lot of this stuff was built by humans, but in the civilization that it is recognized by, all right? So it doesn't mean that this was built by unknown civilizations or aliens or anything like that. But there is also stuff like, for example, the Pnyx, which is this huge wall, which is in Athens, and it's not really visited. People aren't really interested in it because it's not that famous. But I've gone there, and I've even videoed myself up against the stones. I put my arm in as far as it could go, and these stones are insanely, insanely, insanely huge, and they're not just a natural structure. It's insane how big that is. Just in case we thought they might have been thin, look, that is how long these stones are. That's got to be, that's more than a meter's length, possibly 2. That is not, it's not tall and thin. It is actually genuinely deep, the dimensions of these stones. And there is no real explanation using pulleys or ropes or manpower that can really explain a lot of this stuff. And yeah, it's just really interesting. You have to go there. You have to see these things in real life to really gain an appreciation of the size, of the magnitude of the stones and the things that were used by people. And it's definitely clear that there were techniques or technology that has been lost. And when we say technology, it doesn't mean lasers. Technology just means how something was done. So it could be a technique that has been forgotten, which was still performed by real people, but the technique itself has been forgotten. So we just don't know, right? So nobody really knows. Or aliens. Or aliens. As matey out of ancient aliens would say, David Children, anything's possible. Some kind of alien technology. Exactly. Hey, you gotta love it.
So talking about history.
Yeah. Modern History TV is another channel I like to watch as well. So this dude, Jason Kingsley, I didn't even know this. I started watching his channel. I thought, this is really cool. I watched it because he does a lot of medieval stuff. He tests stuff out and for real, using a lance on horseback. Would it be possible to stick a lance through the eye slit of a helmet on horseback? All sorts of stuff. He tries it out, in real life, And the guy's English, and I was watching his channel for a while before I even realised he's the CEO of Rebellion Media, which is behind one of my favourite games of all time, Sniper Elite. I didn't even know that until I started watching. I was like, shit, now this guy is double cool. It was already cool.
Oh, no, hang on, he's triple cool because he has horses.
And yeah, he's triple cool, and he's quadruple cool. He's got long hair as well. So he's totally rock star. He's like a long-haired, modern medieval knight with horses, and he's the CEO of an awesome games company that produces Sniper Elite. The guy's winning, man. He's awesome.
He is.
I love that guy.
But he's so real again, isn't he?
Again, he's real. Yeah, he's a lovely dude. People love him and watch his content. And again, it's all these people are just decent people, but they just do really interesting shit.
And let's go large. You don't know what I mean when I say let's go large.
Ah, yes. Strongman. So I'm really into the sport of strongman. Not as in I don't do it. Look at the size of me. I don't fucking lift. Look at me. Well, not big anyway. Big Loz Official, right? So that's a channel that I really enjoy watching. Now that's Lawrence Shiey, or Shachley if you want to pronounce it the Iranian way, is a channel of, Lawrence is a former strongman, but Loz is his nickname, Loz for short, so Big Loz is his channel. It's so interesting to me because, you know, I mean, ever since we've been together, we've enjoyed watching strongman.
We have.
It's just something about it, guys. It's like a real-life Rocky movie. It's just, whilst you have like those, you kind of have, I guess, your favourites or those that you're really fond of, but you can watch strongman and literally you want everyone to win. Every single guy that's there deserves it. They put in so much, they sacrifice so much, they've all got heart, they've all got the willpower, they all want it, and they all deserve it. You know, it's got to be one of the best sports in terms of camaraderie, I think, isn't it?
Oh, God, without doubt.
It is, and we always get quite emotional watching it. It's just, they all deserve it. They're all such great people. And yeah, Lawrence is one of the big British names. Whilst he's recently retired, he was like in there, you know, the elite level. You know, he's won a bunch of stuff. But yeah, he's a really great guy. Him and his missus, Liz, you know, do a lot of stuff together. They do behind the scenes stuff of a lot of these events. Yeah. They chat about strongman, they have strongmen on, interviewing them. So yeah, we've really been binging a lot of their stuff lately.
Oh yeah, and for your American fans, don't worry, we do love all the American strongmen. We love Brian Shaw.
Shaw's amazing. Yeah. Evan Singleton.
Evan's brilliant. We just watched a video, didn't we, the other day?
Did, yeah, Laws and Evan doing loads of deadlift stuff, deadlift sessions, and
he's incredible.
Yeah, again, yeah, I really liked Evan when I first saw him because like he was doing the whole putting on a front and being a bit, you know, having this alter ego of T-Rex, and at first like you could see that and think, oh, this guy's, you know, trying to be the big I am, and I saw it and I thought, no, I recognise what he was doing, and it's like he has to put on that front to be there, and he's mellowed down a bit, and as he's gotten more used to competing, he's doesn't seem as offish anymore, but he's still putting on the persona, you know, bringing the show. But it's like to do something like that, to believe in yourself, you have to take yourself to that place. You know, a part of you has to go out there saying, well, I'm the greatest, I'm going to destroy everyone, I'm going to dominate, you know. To even, you know, because if you're going to go into a sport like that, you have to go with the intention, you're there to win. You're not there to have fun, right? Otherwise, why do it, you know?
Exactly.
And you see the difference, don't you? In those that have won,
yes,
the world's strongest man, and those that haven't, you do see the difference in mindset, 100%.
Well, like the Stoltman brothers. I mean, you can see that in Tom and Luke. Tom is the younger, Luke is the older. And you would argue that Luke, well, I guess probably 2 or 3 years ago, I would say he was at the top of his game, but he didn't have that winning mindset. He was just the nice guy.
He was happy to be there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
right.
Like, and I think it happens a lot. You know, a lot of people have this, oh, I'm just happy to be here and take part kind of mindset. You know, and they're not going to win because they're not there to win. But if you go there and say, look, I'm not here to take part. You know, I'm fucking doing this. You know.
And Tom did that, didn't he?
And Tom, the young brother, did that.
Yeah.
But once Luke started switching on, realising that he is actually an epic strongman in his own right, he's not just Tom's bigger brother, he's actually an amazing strongman, he started bringing his A game. You know, he won
Europe's last
Europe's, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he's excellent.
And then we have to talk about Eddie Hall.
Eddie Hall, yeah, the whole 500, the first guy to lift 500 kilos, deadlift, half a ton, guys, that's insane. I mean, he went hospital after that because the sheer toll on the human body is insane. I mean, and we've been talking about the weights that they're lifting now are so insane. I mean, these are the lower weights, like, you know, the 300 odd kilo deadlifts or whatever the lower weights are. These would have been the winning weights, you know, years ago. So what human beings now are having to do to themselves to compete at the top level is insane. I'm thinking like it's almost unfair for them to keep putting the weight up, and I think they need to sort of start making it a bit more a combination now of athleticism mobility and, you know, and strength, rather than just making these guys basically kill themselves to try and lift 400 kilos.
Kiliskowski, I'm not saying that right, the Polish guy.
Mateusz Kiliskowski,
Yeah, that's a mouthful. Yeah. When he just pulled that plane, didn't he?
Like, he dominated that.
He was tiny compared to what he is now.
Yeah, and compared to the others, he looked like a small guy, but he is huge, right? And we thought, when we saw that the first time, like, I'm pretty sure everyone else watching in the world thought, right, this guy's the next world's strongest man.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, you know, he keeps getting injured. And it just goes to show, these guys who are world-class athletes, who really should be the world's strongest men, if they just get injured just once, at the wrong time, screws everything up. You know, it's a very cruel sport. For that reason alone.
Yeah, because has he pulled out of Worlds again now? Yeah. And it's like, and he's had to get bigger. That's what I was going to say. Because so he wasn't like tiny, but you know, he was athletic with it.
Yeah.
And now he's like put on all the mass.
I know, it's like a lot of these guys that are naturally maybe not quite as big as like the biggest guys.
Like Brian Shaw.
Like, yeah, because Shaw's huge anyway.
He's just a tank.
Yeah, I mean, like Oberst, a lot of these guys are really big. Thor Bjornsson, big, fuck off, massive refrigerator-sized guys, right? And then the smaller guys, Eddie Hall, Adam Bishop, Kevin Ferris. I love Kevin. See, Kevin Ferris is an American competitor, and he's not as big as the other guys, but his technique is so good. He knows how to use every muscle in a chain, so that his technique makes him better at certain events or as good as the other guys, because he knows how to use his body properly. So what he gives away in size, he makes up for in technique. I'd love to see him win in the future. I think he's brilliant. I mean, I want Evan Singleton to win. I want Kevin Ferris to win.
I want Brian Shaw to win again.
I'd love Shaw to win again because he deserves a 5th title. Yeah, but that's the thing, I want them all to win.
Yeah.
I want them all to win.
And then the most upsetting thing, we're rambling now, but it's just so exciting. But this is upsetting, is Caron.
Yeah, so JF Caron is a French-Canadian competitor, and he's got to be one of the strongest guys that's never won World's Strongest Man, but he has won tons of real meaningful competitions. He's like one of the most respected men in the sport. He's recently had an injury where I believe he tore the quads on both of his legs during a log lift, and that's it now. Yeah, at the Arnold's Classic. And yeah, that's going to be it for strongman, so he can't do that anymore. So that really sucks. But yeah, he's a brilliant guy. Yeah, everyone loves him, and he's for good reason. He's strong as fuck.
And we haven't even talked about the Eddie Thor fight.
Eddie and Thor fight,
so we do like a bit of boxing as well.
So we like a bit of boxing. Don't watch it religiously, but do enjoy it. Would watch it if it was on. But yeah, Hafthor Bjornsson and Eddie Hall were at the top of the game, you know, in 2017, 18, 19, sort of that era, sort of, you know, Eddie won. Hafthor was, you know, there was a bit of controversy, I'm not going to go into it, but anyway, they had this boxing match booked, and it was going to take place in Dubai. It happened earlier this year, and yeah, that was pretty nerve-wracking.
It was an interesting fight to watch for two non-boxers, as in strongmen.
Everyone said they're going to run out of breath in the first round and it's just going to be two big guys hugging each other. They didn't. They both lasted the full 6 because it's an exhibition. Spoiler alert, yeah. Well, all right, well, I'm not going to say who wins, all right? But they both lasted, put it that way.
And yeah, so you can watch that. So strongman is a big part.
Yeah, so well into strongman, yeah. And we're not really sporting kind of people, but I think that's just, again, it's the sheer heart and mental game of something like that, and the camaraderie is just brilliant. Everything about it is great. So yeah, guys, those are the YouTube channels which I habitually watch. So let me know if you happen to actually watch any of those channels I mentioned, or any channels which are related or similar to those. And just let me know in the comments below. Just let me know in general what other YouTube channels you like to watch. And I'll see you guys next time.